don't work for someone. You don't report to an office. You don't check in with coworkers, because it's just you. And for a while, you felt free. But freedom without a system? That's just another word for stuck. You set goals. Then you don't reach them. You stay busy. Yet your pipeline doesn't grow. You meet people, only to never hear from them again. And the worst part? It's only getting worse. You want things to improve, and they can, but it starts with you. MPN is an online accountability group for financial advisors, mortgage brokers, real estate professionals, insurance agents, coaches, and consultants. People who know their profession, but need structure to stay consistent. Every day, 6 disciplines to complete. Every week, 4 steps to follow. Every month, fellow professionals see your commitment. And the outcome? You build yourself. You build your business. You build your network. MPN, where information meets implementation. Learn more at mypersonalnetwork.org.
Hi, I'm Bobby Aldridge with BAM Metrics. There are so many programs out there that measure your swing speed, sets, reps, your BMI, your body fat, but the one thing they're not measuring that's so essential is mobility. Mobility is the key. If you're measuring your mobility, your performance will get better and you will reduce your pain. I created BAM Metrics to make it easy for people to repeat the exercises so they could do it properly at home on their own. It's simple, it's easy to do, and from a senior to a pro athlete.
Well, welcome everybody back to another Mindful Monday. Our guest today proves that when you follow what you love, amazing things can happen. Karen Pickering has spent more than 3 decades serving the equine community, transforming a simple newsletter into a nationally recognized horse source network. Her journey is one of passion, perseverance, innovation, and building lasting relationships. Whether you're a horse enthusiast, entrepreneur, or someone pursuing a dream, you're going to find inspiration in her story. So please help me in welcoming Karen Pickering to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Karen, welcome.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you were able to, do something that you were passionate about and just, make it your purpose and your life's work. We all know every great journey kind of begins with a single moment. So what first sparked your love for horses, and when did you realize that they would become such a significant part of your life's purpose?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I just was horse crazy. My mom, wanted me to love dolls, and I didn't love dolls. I was a horse girl, tomboy, you name it. So I tormented my parents until they moved away from Seattle and up to Blaine, Washington, so that I could have a horse. And that's how it all started. I've always had a horse. I don't think I've ever been without one since I was probably in the 3rd grade. So I had it bad, but I absolutely loved working with horses, being around horses, horse people. It was just a dream. So I collected Breyer horse models instead of dolls. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, that reminds me of my aunt. So I was a tomboy myself also. I had no use for dolls, and I loved horses or riding them. But I would have to, and riding them was still great, but I was always fascinated with them, but the size of them was always kind of intimidating. But my aunt, she had a collection and knew like what every type of horse and was, and had quite the collection of them.
yeah.
Yeah. So you were never intimidated, or that just, because that there's just the sheer size of them. I mean, they're big animals.
I had it really bad, but my first horse just about killed me. He was a really nasty little gelding. He bucked me off. He would rear, he would kick. He was awful. And I learned to manage him. It's funny, my dad grew up on a farm and they farmed with horses. And so he thought he was going to fix this horse. And he bucked my dad off. He bucked my brother off. And so I learned, I made some friends that were horse people and they helped me with him and they rode him and got him straightened out for me. And I ended up having years of riding out of him. He was a good little horse after a while. You just had to figure out his tools and how to use them. And And but anyway, he was the first horse I had. But it was amazing that I kept my love of horses because he literally hurt me. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, I was going to say most people they would experience that and then almost, just kind of succumb to the fear and just of not wanting to get hurt again and not go near them, but you did the opposite.
Yeah, but I grew up on Mr. Ed and Flicka and that kind of stuff. So it was a fantasy. And so, life isn't a fantasy, but you adapt and you learn to make things work. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Ed, and of course, I always watched Flipper, and as most people know, I love dolphins, and I finally went and swam with dolphins. But yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So you started the Horse Source as a simple newsletter in 1995, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So did you ever imagine that it would grow into the thriving media network that it is today?
No, no. When I started it, I worked for a U.S. Customs broker. And I was in the beginning stages of when the ACH happened with customs and that kind of thing. And I just developed a love for computers. I just was kind of a nerd. So I enjoyed computers and I started a company newsletter for the brokerage. And I thought, you know what? This would be fun to do a little horse newsletter. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I had a friend at work that liked to write. She was an editor. And so I'd write stories. I'd go out and collect articles from the veterinarians and local horse people, and I put a newsletter together. And it was, I think, 1,000 copies and 12 pages when it started. And I would just go out and deliver them to the local feed stores, and that's where it started. And I worked full time until I could start making a little money at it, and it just grew from there. And it was amazing. I've done some amazing things in my life. I would never have guessed that I'd be doing a horse publication and now an online media company for 30 years. It just couldn't imagine that.
So when you started it and you were thinking of the newsletter, what was the intention? To educate people about horses, or to what was the kind of the purpose that drove you to thought
That
that
was
drove you
my
to do
passion.
a newsletter? Yeah.
Yeah, because learning, I was like a sponge. I wanted to learn everything I could about horses. And so I went to the local veterinarian and I learned through my own horses how to care for them. A lot of shortcuts were made because I just didn't know what I was doing. And even though my dad grew up on a farm, in that era, horses were a beast of burden. They were there to work, whereas my horses didn't work very much. They played a lot with me, and that was about it. But my passion was to help people because I saw when I would go on trail rides and things like that, I'd see people struggling with their horses. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't have to be this hard. And I believe you need a coach. You need somebody to help you, regardless of what you do in life. I believe we all need a coach of some
Hmm.
sort. And I took it upon myself to find trainers and learned what I felt was humane ways to treat a horse. And it just went from there. One of my best friends at the time had was a horse trainer. She showed quarter horses. I learned a ton from her, and it was an educating thing throughout my whole life. And then when I started the magazine, I guess in retrospect, I probably should have gone to work for a publication because I learned everything the hard way. I mean, it was like bumper cars, man. You just keep crashing into walls till you figure it out. But I joined American Horse Publications at the time, and it was probably one of the best things I did because it networked me with all the major publications and horse people in the industry, breed organizations, and I got to travel to every corner of the country and see everything from New Orleans to New York. I mean, it was just an unbelievable journey, meeting some of the neatest people and horses. And I remember going to the uh, Four Sixes in Texas and getting to meet Pepe San Badger before he died. And I thought that was so cool. I would just, one of the neatest things. And then the people that are behind the stories is really what my passion is to tell their stories and help connect horse people and horse businesses together and build that trust because it takes years to build trust in any kind of industry. And I think we've lost a little of that with online and social media, and there's so much stuff out there that you don't know if it's real or not. And it's just, we need authenticity, I believe, in life. And I believe we need to be able to get people on the phone when you need help, and not tons and tons of instructions. And I don't learn that way. I want to have somebody help me and when I need help with something. And so I believe in doing that for other people, whether it be with their horses or just connecting them with people that can help them.
Yeah, and there's so many different realms, and since I've been doing this, I've learned, about new ones. But for one, I have to say, so really, you were just kind of sharing all the knowledge, all the stuff you were learning, and sharing it with people in the newsletter, and it grew from there. But
Mhm.
and I want to commend you for your perseverance, because that's not easy when you keep hitting a wall. It's very easy to just say, "Oh, why am I doing this?" or stop doing it. But yeah, don't recommend learning the hard way. But
Yeah.
I commend you for making it through that. But yeah, doing this, I mean, I've met a number of people. I know I've introduced you to a couple of them, but
Mhm.
because they're actually very healing for people, and so I know a lot of people that use them. And it's just very safe. They let the horses come to the person if they feel so, but because of the vibration, they're more than just workhorses or pets or however you want to look at. There's like so many different aspects. So have you kind of learned about a lot of the different realms and publish about those as well, or?
Absolutely. I've worked with veterans now. I've worked with kids that are disabled through a few different programs. And what I've learned is horses actually lower your heart rate. And there's just something about them that is calming. And I don't understand fear of horses other than the fact that, yes, they are big. They're, 1,100 pounds of sheer muscle. And, but on the other hand, they're a gentle giant. They're something that I think reflects us. They reflect back to us what we're feeling and seeing and hearing and that kind of thing. And so I worked on with a veterans program back in Washington State. We would invite veterans and their families to come up, and then there was a counselor that would come and talk and speak about different things and just learning how to cope after they've come back from deployment and that kind of thing. And we involved the whole family. Well, it was amazing to see the kids, and I remember one little boy that the gentleman was in the Air Force, I believe, and his son, all his organs were when he was born were on the outside of his body, and he had so many health challenges, and this was really hard for the family. And after his surgery and everything, they got him kind of put back together, and he came out and rode the horse. And I've got an amazing picture of this little boy just grinning from ear to ear, and his dad is so proud of him, and just being able to touch an animal and feel the breath. And I don't know, there's just something very magical about a horse.
Yeah, yeah. They do have a very calming effect, and like you said, to me they're very majestic animals. They're just peaceful. Love watching them just kind of run or be there. I've always loved horses too.
Mhm.
So but yeah, but I have to get over that because they don't hurt you. They're very gentle, but it's just the size.
It's like anything, when you're around something, it's just,
It becomes natural.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can adapt. So, so what kept you believing in the vision when others may not have seen it?
There's just something about a horse, and I can't just, it's whatever you have a passion for something, it just invades your soul, and it's something you have to do. And no, it's not always been easy. We've had some real challenges throughout the years. And one particular story, in 2014, we'd gotten through the 2008, economic crisis, and we made it through that. And our advertisers were loyal and faithful. And in 2014, I won my first buckle, which was not a big deal to a lot of people, but because I was so invested in business, I didn't focus on any one particular discipline. And my horse and I did everything together. We went to expos, we went to different shows, we did a lot of trail stuff, equine trail sports, that kind of thing. But I won my first buckle, and that was really exciting. And I know people that show horses, it's no big deal, but for me, it was a big deal. And then I got to experience Yellowstone on the back of my horse. And that was like 10 days of pure bliss riding through that incredible place and seeing nature and being on my own horse, not having to go with a guided tour. It was pretty cool. But that with friends was something meaningful. It was a bucket list thing that, most people don't get to do. But anyway, in December of that year, my husband had a stroke and life just stopped. And I was, we were devastated financially, emotionally, physically. It was really bad. And that's when I really realized that we had a really caring community, and my community came around us and they cleaned our house. They took care of the horses. They took care of the dog. They took care of our yard. I mean, it was between church, family, and friends and customers that would hold fundraisers for us. It was just unbelievable. And that's when I realized that when you participate in a community, usually people are there to support you. And that's why I want to support the horse community. I'm committed to that. As long as I can do it, I want to be a part of the horse community and just share my experiences and share what I've learned in and through that experience.
Yeah.
So, and I published through the whole thing. I had my laptop with me in the hospital and I did not miss an issue. It was crazy, but I was committed to keeping that magazine done every month. So
It probably kind of helped kept you pleasantly kind of distracted, or, because that's challenging when you have serious medical conditions, or trust me, I've spent a number of hospital stays with my fiance after accidents and stuff. And it's,
yeah.
your mind can go to a lot of places, but having something that I would think that you were passionate about, that you could still kind of absorb in, but be there for him at the same time, probably helped kind of keep you even keeled.
I am so sorry. I had it on Do Not Disturb. Okay.
That's okay. Gotta love technology.
Yeah.
So just to be clear though, so for those that are not, you said you got your first buckle. So is that like an award for people that are not familiar with the horse world? Is that like something you earned from a
Yeah.
show, or?
Yeah, it's a rating system. So in other words, you compete with a lot of other riders and so forth. And we I think it was a reserve champion. We didn't win the overall, but in our division we did. And so you compete with people. It's a scoring system, and the highest place gets a buckle and a ribbon. And it was one of those things. So I've had quite a few ribbons over the years, and I've showed quite a bit over the years. But it's been really something to experience that, and I just enjoyed having a little memento from a horse that really meant a lot to me for a lot of years. So
Yeah.
it was fun, but it's not, it's not about the buckle. It's about the journey. And like anything in life, it's how you experience life and get there and enjoy the journey, and it's not about always about the end result. It's about just learning as you go, and helping others along the way is probably the best part of it. So
Yeah, and I can only imagine that trip through Yellowstone, because we've gone camping in Yellowstone when I was a kid, because I grew up in Colorado, which, funny thing is, basically I moved out of Colorado when you moved in.
yeah,
The same
yeah,
year. We will meet one of these days, I'll guarantee you, because I go at least once, if not twice a year, back to Colorado anyway.
yeah, yeah.
But the horse industry really has changed dramatically over the last 30 years. What has been the biggest challenge you faced with that? And what did the experience teach you about the resilience and leadership?
Technology's probably been the biggest challenge. Constantly learning new software programs, and everything going from print, which I love print. I love the tactile feel of something in my hand, and just being able to sit out on the porch with a cup of coffee and read a magazine or a book is just something I really enjoy. And I really miss that we don't have the magazine anymore, but it got expensive, and a lot of publications went by the wayside. So everything, you kind of moved to where the people go. And so we moved online, and that's kind of where we went, is into an online platform, starting with social media. We got a website, years ago. I mean, that was
Hmm.
early 90s we had or the 1990s, early 2000s we had a website, and it grew from there. And we used it was mostly a support for the magazine, so we always put the articles up there even though they were still in the printed magazine. But our age group right now still appreciates print, and I get a lot of calls and emails from people, can I subscribe, where can I, where can I go and to get a magazine? And we don't have that anymore. And so I'm kind of sorry about that. But anyway, I
Yeah.
am doing an online thing and having to get used to getting in front of the camera and doing YouTube videos, and we're going to start Horse Source Lives, and so it'll be a really good thing. So
So is
uh,
that what you're going to be doing? So you do have the YouTube channel at Northwest or NW Horse Source. Is that where they're going to see a lot of those?
they will, and we've got a couple interviews up there now. We've interviewed Temple Grandin. We've interviewed a few other people. Zoetis has been on there talking about their pharmaceutical stuff in the horse industry. So we're trying to just build that platform right now. But it all started with Horse Source Live and or horsesource.org, which is our directory. And so everything, has been really interesting. I don't care to be on camera, but it's like, get over it. Everybody's on camera. Nobody cares what you look like. They will only care about who you're talking about or interviewing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I have to, get over. But
I
I
always say if they're worried about what you look like and whether you're polished or not, they're not your people anyway.
no, no,
I'm like you. I believe in being authentic and real, and what is. Yeah.
yeah. And things happening in the background that aren't supposed to be happening and those kind of things.
Like your
Part of
husband.
life. Yeah.
Like your husband that just popped in.
The note on the door did not work,
Yeah.
obviously.
So yeah, that's
Sorry about that.
no, you're fine. We won't go into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sign's not big enough.
No.
But anyway, so relationships and trust seem to be the cornerstone pretty much of everything you've built. So in
Yeah.
today's fast-paced digital world, why do you believe the genuine relationships still matter more than ever?
I think people are overloaded. We've got too much going on. There's too much coming at us. And I think people want to be heard. I think people want to be able to discuss their challenges and their problems. And I love helping people work through, how do I get seen? What kind of visibility do I need? And helping them tell their story, because I think telling your story is, people want to hear something real. I had a gentleman from Spain that has just recently started with us, and he was trying to hide behind the fact he's from Spain, but he's doing business in the United States. And I told him, I said, people want to know you. They don't want some facade or some. He wanted me to be the front of his company. And I said, no, I said, you need to be the front of your company. People want to know you. And that's really the most important thing, I believe, is sharing who you are and your values. And no, but not everybody's going to agree with you. That's just the way life is. It's about listening and helping others and building that trust and caring about the person that you're working with and truly caring about them. And so your large platforms, your social media companies and stuff like that, you can't even get through to somebody to help you on those big companies, or, try to get somebody on, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I always want to be able to talk to somebody on the phone if I can. I really miss the fact that trade shows are kind of dwindling. The cost of travel and the expense of the venue and that kind of thing has just gotten really expensive. But there's something about meeting a person face to face, that handshake or that hug.
Hmm.
I've gotten to meet most of the big clinicians in person, and it's not the same. You can see them in a video, you can read an article, but it's when you get to meet them and talk to them and that kind of thing in person, I think that really helps. And I guess that's why I'm excited about the Horse Source Lives, because I'm going to bring experts in the industry on board, let them talk about a particular problem that people are trying to solve or something, but giving the people that are on the call or on the video to have an opportunity to ask questions and to actually feel like they're being heard by somebody. And I think it's really important. That's the one thing I do like about video is that you get to see the person, you get to see their emotions. Um, Typing in caps in an email obviously means that you're passionate
Yelling at them.
about something, but
It's normally construed as yelling. So,
right. But being able to work through problems with people, work through challenges and that kind of thing is something that I really feel passionate about. I want to know the person. Um, they say don't, you got 30 minutes and your 30 minutes is going to cost you this. And it's like, you know what? If you want to talk to me for an hour, I want to talk to you for an hour. I want to listen. And the more you can listen to people, the more you can learn. And that's how you help people is by learning what their challenges are and how do you help them solve that challenge. And so that's what I'm mostly interested in doing now. And the technology is good and bad. I mean, I think it's somewhat complicated our lives. In some ways, it's made it easier. AI is my new friend. It's my new assistant. It helps me do things and problem solve and troubleshoot and take on tasks that are menial tasks that I don't want to do. And so it's embracing that. And I know some people are uncomfortable with it. It's like, I remember back, I don't know, it was 2007, 2008, whenever social media really got started. I had a team of people. I had 7 employees at the time. And I asked them, I said, so what do we do? Are we going to jump into the social media thing? And it's all, oh, no, we don't want to do that. So we didn't.
yeah.
And I think we got behind the 8 ball on that because we thought, no, we don't want to take on one more thing right now. And what I've learned is you need to embrace technology, not avoid it. And people in my age group generally are learning. We're learning to adapt, and so that's a good thing. But having that conversation about AI and I don't think that you can't let AI write your articles for you. You can't let it do a lot of things for you from my perspective, but it does help you with editing and things like that and research and some things that I need help with. I can find an answer very quickly using AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's embracing all of that to better help the people that I serve. And that is my goal.
Yeah, and there's really so many platforms out there. And one thing I learned from writing computer programs early on is garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
If you give it garbage, it's going to give you garbage back. It's really just a tool that can compile and grab things so much faster, than you can. But if you talk to it and train it enough and it gets to know you, you can actually, depending on what AI you're using, because there's so many different platforms, you can actually have it probably tell you about yourself better than you can, and it puts it all together. And it's like anything. I think everything has a bad and a good. Anything can be abused, but I've met a number of people, our age, older. Some of them are very tech savvy. Some of them are still want nothing to do with it. But when you are going to be in business and you are going to run a business, you kind of don't have a choice because this is where we've gone. It's social media, and not to say that you couldn't build one, but it's going to be very tough and very hard if you are not putting yourself out there. You're not using the tools and use them the way they should be, because even social, any of that stuff can get carried away or used. If there's stuff on there you don't like, block it, ignore it. You don't have to, as long as you're not attached with it, it's not going to show all over your feeds. People think you have no control over it. You can control what shows on your feeds, who you connect to. There's some people that just like, oh my God, no, I can't do this. I have to shut it all down. No, it's just start filtering out with the kind of, content people you don't want on there and protect your space.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I've learned with using AI is it learns your style after a while. It learns what you expect, what you like, that kind of thing. And so I've learned I had to tell it to be a little bit meaner to me because it does like to tell you what you want to hear. But you're right. You have to put in, I used to worry. I told it one day, I says, why would people need to come to me if they can just ask you any question and you can tell them? And it right back to me said, I don't have 30 years of experience in the horse industry. So people can ask questions, but do they know the right questions to ask? Do they
Yeah.
know that the information they're getting is solid? And that's where I come in, is that I want to be able to share the proper information from what I've learned over the years about keeping safe with horses and that kind of thing. So that's why I've got 4 websites, so I'm always busy. I can't seem to stop, but we
Lived
start.
experience says a lot, and AI can't ride a horse. AI can't interact with a horse. You've been there, you've done that, and other people that want to do that, you'll want to connect with someone that does. Sure, they can kind of put, it's kind of like another gentleman, that I worked with that was going to walk the Appalachian Trail. Yeah, it did a lot for preparing them of kind of what to expect, what the trail does, but it's a whole different thing when you're actually on the trail and experiencing it for yourself. It still doesn't replace that. It can guide you, it can help kind of prepare you, but it still can never replace the real thing.
No. And some of the cool things that it can do is, like, you can go into your barn and you can snap a bunch of pictures and you can tell it to create a system for you in the barn and it'll do it. It's kind of cool. Or landscaping your place or things like that. But I think it doesn't replace experience. AI has not been around that long. And so,
No.
and all it does is pull information off the internet. So
Well,
you're,
it depends. Some AI actually has been around for quite a while. We just didn't hear about it.
well,
It was over in Europe and other areas. Some of it's been around for quite a while. But I love how people, when you start getting to that, people are like, oh, they're so afraid about being automated, and we're going to have cars, or we have cars that can drive themselves. They're like, oh no. Well, look how many of them have adapted and don't use their rear view mirror anymore because they've got a camera and it tells them, they're. I mean, it's already cruise control. It's already been slowly getting you used to where you don't have to necessarily control everything. It was just kind of more gradual than, oh my God, I can sit back and let this thing drive. That's quite the jump still, but it's coming. It's here. It's actually here. They have them doing it, but
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, but looking back, was there a defining moment when you realized your work was about much more than horses? I mean, you're creating a community and making a lasting impact on people's lives.
It was probably a combination, a lot of little things, but I think the turning point when I said, hey, this has got to be about relationships, was when my husband had his stroke. That was like mind boggling, that people would come together and help us raise money and the whole 9 yards. I mean, you have no idea when you've got a farm and you've got a business and you've got all these things coming at you, life comes at you. And without the support of a community, it's just really hard to get through things. We need other people. We need to have, I think, a community that really cares about you, and that's what we're creating with Horse Source. And so I'm just very excited about where the directions it's going, and learning how we can adjust to technology and learn how to embrace it and not be afraid of it and not let it take over and not let it be everything. And I mean, we've had people write articles, right away, it's an AI wrote the article. And so it's a tool. It is not a replacement for
Right.
you as a writer or whatever. And so I think that the industry is going in a direction where, like, I don't even go on Google anymore. I just ask AI. It's much easier. I'm in there already. I just ask it and it does all the work for me. So I think it's going to revolutionize business. I think a lot of companies are going to be able to downsize. I know I've had 2 people that went on to do something else and I just didn't replace them. And I'd like to have them, but I have learned a lot of the things that I can do using AI to take on some of that responsibility. And so that's where it's helped me quite a bit.
Yeah.
But there's still got to be that passion. There's still got to be that reason to go on. And I don't think you got to have a college education to do your passion. I think that it helps. I mean, I'm sure college helps a lot. I would not want that debt right now, but I think it's something that if you want something badly enough, I think you'll find a way to do it. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can do it. And you have to believe in the people that are around you, that if something happens, that you've got help. And I
Yeah.
think that's really important. So,
No, and I'm with you. Like I said, lived experience is a lot because I had the well, I don't know if I call it an opportunity. Um, I guess you could call it an opportunity. I had the opportunity to go back to school, go back to college, get a knock out a bachelor's and a master's. But the
mhm.
only reason I did was because I had the Fry 9/11 GI Bill from my late husband, and I actually got paid to go to school. So there was no debt. Otherwise, I would not have done it. And I did do it, and to me, it wound up being it's like, okay, it's really just playing the game because they're just regurgitating stuff out of a book. Most of the stuff is outdated. I learned more from business people, entrepreneurs that were successful than I did out of that, you know. But and then when you have someone telling you it's like, oh no, we don't even care what your degree is in. We just want to know that you're coachable and teachable. So you're putting people thousands of dollars in debt for a piece of paper that says, here, look, I'm willing to learn and I'm teachable. To me, that's
Yeah.
insanity. That is insanity. But
Well, that reminds me, I worked with a local college in Bellingham, Washington, Western Washington University, and it was through the Small Business Development Center, which I highly recommend for people to get involved with. It's a really valuable resource, and it doesn't cost you. But I would work with students who were interested in marketing or journalism, and they had a program at school where they would send the kids in to write a marketing plan for you or do something for you that filled a need.
mhm.
And I thought, well, marketing is always a challenge for everybody. So come on in and show me what you can do. And I've worked with probably 4 different teams of kids over the years that have come through and done that. And they want real world experience. They want life experience. They can't get that sitting in a classroom. And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of value in helping young people in a business environment. How else do you learn something that you don't have to pay for the education if you're willing to invest the time in training with somebody or reading about it, studying it. It's a matter of the time you put into it, and I think it's very valuable.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I've paid for education. It just wasn't from a college per se, but I've paid for education to learn about the things that I'm passionate about
yeah,
or that would help me grow. Because entrepreneurs, that's a whole different world.
it is.
Um,
Yeah.
but speaking of entrepreneurs, they often face setbacks that no one sees. So, was there ever a time when you questioned whether to continue and what helped you move forward?
Recently, moving to Colorado was way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Very different. The weather, there's just a lot of things that I did not realize when I moved here. And I just did it. I mean, I thought, I just need a change. Why not move to Colorado? My best friend moved here. I thought, let's do it. I lived in the same place for 35 years. I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do this adventure. Well, it costs us a lot of money. And fortunately, we got in 2021 when the interest rates were really low. So that saved us. But over here, I had to start all over again with a new community. And honestly, my Northwest community probably is still my major support system. And because I know it so well, we're doing okay. But it's a challenge in trying to figure out a new market, new people. Um, this is just very different, and people here have their own way of doing things, or it's different. It is a horse community. It's a big time horse community. I have made some
Especially where
friends.
you're at,
I
because I lived out there for 16 years.
Yeah, yeah. And I discovered places, like Latigo Equestrian Center is wonderful, and I hooked up with the Colorado Horse Council for a while. I was on their board for a couple years and involved in the expo and things like that. I figured that you got to connect, you've got to network in the industry, and so I tried that for a while. I even took a job for a while, working at a feed store just to supplement the income because trying again, AI, we're just kind of in this transitionary place. And I worked for a year and I thought, you know what, can't do it. Can't run your business and work. So I'm back to doing the business. But um, I believe that passion and it's caring about people that get you through. And I'm kind of I'm still kind of a geek. I like computer stuff, so I'll get it figured out. And I'm just looking forward to learning a new way of helping people. And from what I've learned, but there's just nothing that replaces that communication by phone, but getting on the phone, getting in front of people, going to events. That's one thing I need to start doing a little bit more of. I've been to a few events. I've met the El Paso County Sheriff's Department, the mounted unit, and I've been out to Remount Foundation and learned a lot about their program helping veterans, and heart math, which is fascinating. I didn't know about that. So just talking about how the horse lowers your heart rate and things like that. I have met some really, really wonderful people out here. And so it's just a matter of being in front of people, being intentional, being consistent. It's like anything working with a horse. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be intentional. You've got to trust. And, forcing an animal doesn't work. Well, forcing people doesn't work either. You have to be genuinely concerned. So
And
that's kind of where we're at right now.
I would say horses probably taught you a lot about that because they have a unique way of teaching us, I think, about patience and trust and communication.
And humility.
And,
I've
and,
learned
and humility. And
Yeah.
humility. Yeah.
Well, one of the challenges when I got here, I had a horse named April she was that once in a lifetime horse that I did everything with. And I bought her as a yearling at a sale and finally connected with the people that owned her and have kept in touch with them over the years. But she was just an amazing creature. She taught me so much. She was hypersensitive, but she was very loving and very, I felt very safe on her, and I trusted her. And when we got here, gosh, the first year we were here, the winter was just brutal. And she slipped and fell on the ice and broke her shoulder.
Oh.
And I had to put her down. And I was at a trade show. I was at the expo. And, it was snowy roads and bad weather. And I had the choice. I had to put her down over the phone. It was the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I couldn't leave and come down here. By the time I would have got here, it would have been 3-4 hours because of the weather. And I had to have the vet out right away. And it was really hard. And I thought, I had to start over with I bought a new horse about 8 months later, bought an older gelding. And I thought, the lady I bought him from said, he's my little kid rides, my granddaughter rides him. She barrel raced him. She did all kinds of stuff. He's going to be safe. And I get this horse and he doesn't know a lot. He's pretty good. He's a good horse, but I don't trust him because he shies. And I'm not as quick on my feet as I used to be. And so it's now, okay, get your big girl panties on and get on this horse and ride. And, at 64 years old, it's not as easy to do this. And so I want to help people through my journey with this horse and learning about, it's called getting on him in wet saddle blankets. And when you're in business, you can't always just take off and go ride when you feel like it. And then I'm learning that in this heat, I don't want to ride when it's 90 degrees out. I don't think he does either.
No.
But you have to really follow the weather here, which I'm not used to that. We had a lot of rain where I came from in the Pacific Northwest, but we had a lot of indoor arenas. And we just dealt with the rain, and it was, cool. And we dealt with a lot of mud. Here we deal with dust and
it is a desert.
And wind.
Yeah. Even though we have the Rocky Mountains there, or have the Rocky Mountains there, it is considered a desert.
It is.
But, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But so I'm having to learn about trust, and I'm having to learn that if you transmit fear, they can feel that. And so you have to work through things and keep them busy and keeping their mind active so they don't shy. And putting them to work is about the only way that you can get past it. But I tell you, it's been a challenge, and it's like starting all over with another creature. I thought April was going to be the horse I had till I couldn't ride anymore, and that wasn't quite the case. So
yeah, And that's true, I think, with all with most, well, pretty much all animals that I know of. They can sense fear and sense,
Mm.
kind of what's going on much better than we can. But
Yeah.
yeah. So for someone watching today who has a dream that they've been putting off because they think it's too late or too small, what encouragement would you offer them from their own journey, from your own journey?
Just do it. Don't think about it too hard, but plan and get a coach, get somebody to help you through it, and somebody that's done it. That would have been the advice that I give people, is that you need to do things with assistance. You can't do it on your own. You've got to have a community around you to help you. You need resources, and but if you waited for everything to be perfect, you'd never do it. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from, is that you have to be willing to invest the time. Know that it's not easy. It just doesn't, money just doesn't come overnight. I think money is a result of helping other people get what they want. And it can't be about the money. If it's about the money, I don't think you're not gonna make it if that's the only thing it is. And the next, I'm really, I have the squirrel syndrome. Okay, so all these ads that come through that just will make your life easier, just do this overnight and you'll be a success. And it's like, when it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There's just no replacement for hard work, and you pay your dues, but anybody can do it if they believe they can do it. I don't think that we are limited by our own fears and our own um, confidence level. So I
Yeah.
went through, I became a Jack Canfield certified trainer because I wanted to learn life principles that will help me get past certain things and belief systems and limiting beliefs that you have about what you're capable of doing. And so I think that we can help each other through that and learning life skills. So that's kind of where I'm at. But
I,
I think,
I love his number one principle for success principles. Do you remember what that one is?
oh, off the top of my head, no.
The number one is take 100%
And
ownership of what
responsibility.
happened. Of
Very
what happened.
100% responsibility.
Yep,
Absolutely.
you can always sit there and say, "Oh, that was that one's fault. That was this one's fault." No, you had a choice. You played a part in it. Own it. Move on.
And
But I
that's
love that, and you're so right, because that's what I love about that is mindset, and that's why I always told people, I'm like, I am perfectly imperfect. People are either going to resonate with me in the show or
yeah,
they do not, and when you do that, it like lifts such a weight. And because I'm a recovering perfectionist. Everybody used to always call me a perfectionist. I said, you call it perfectionism, I call it pride. I was like, I
yeah.
just had a different way of framing it.
Mhm.
But really, it just, yeah, you wait too long to do things that you should do or that you want to do because you're trying to make for it to be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect.
No, no.
Nothing's ever perfect. And I can't agree with you more. When you have the right community around you, anything's possible. And it may not be in your immediate circle. You may have to find that community, and just kind of latch on, that will help support your passion or your dream.
Well, and that's, I think, one of the good things about social media is it has connected us no matter where we're at. I can still stay connected and involved with my community back in the Northwest because social media.
Hmm.
Um, Social media is a flash in the pan. I think it's good for announcements and that kind of thing. Um, but it has definitely changed how we see the world and how we communicate with people. And so, got to embrace it. I used to say that people are just going to advertise on Facebook and that's it. Well, that's not true. Um, it is an avenue. It is a tool, just like AI or anything else. And we just have to learn to use the tools and use them effectively. So I think that in today's world, I think it's sometimes easier to um, find a passion and follow it because you have a lot of people around you and you have a lot of access to a lot more people. The caution is not everybody's got good advice and not everybody's got your best interest at heart. So
Right.
I think we have to be careful. And there is, AI has done a lot of stuff where images can be created that are not real. I mean, that's pretty obvious with all the videos that you see online right now.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to be careful. But when you can get on the phone and actually talk to a person, even over email or anything else, I think it's very important that we keep that line of communication going with people and make people first and foremost on your list. I mean, if it's about the people.
It
So
is. It is absolutely. Karen, this has been absolutely wonderful. We have got about 4 minutes left. So I just want to know, as you look toward the future, what legacy do you hope that the Horse Source Network leaves, not only for the equine industry, but for the people whose lives that it's touched along the way?
I want it to be a platform where people can share ideas and get quality information. And I hope that lives on long after I'm gone, because it's been my passion to help people succeed with their horses, succeed in their horse business, and just be true and authentic. And that's authenticity and trust, or something that no big company can build for you. So
No, they can't. And I know it's Northwest Horse Source, but you're starting to expand more than the Northwest, are you not?
yeah, we've got Colorado Horse Source. Horse Source Live is nationwide, and Horse Safety Tips is nationwide. So we're connecting with people all over the country and even overseas. So it's been a real journey, but it has a regional flavor, if you will. That's how we started, and I think that connecting communities is where it's going to end up, and that's what we want to do. Is even though it's a larger network, it's still caring about the horse community overall.
So
So
who are you hoping to connect with to expand your reach?
I want to connect with more people in the industry, as far as here in Colorado, some of the more prominent horse people here in Colorado. And then my goal is to network with some of the larger clinicians in the area, and also nationwide. I mean, I know most of the larger clinicians. I mean, John Lyons, I've loved him for years, and I know he's kind of winding down, and his son Josh is taking over. But I think I want to bring more of these people into the Horse Source lives, so that even though maybe the horse expos are kind of winding down or getting smaller, they can still connect with their clinician or the people that they inspire to be around. Robert Eversole is another good example of, he's the trailmeister, and he's helped a lot of people in a lot of ways, and he's very inspirational. He's a good writer. Um, I've had his articles in the magazine for years and now online, and he's expanded just like the rest of us need to do. Does cinch making, and now he's teaching people how to work with their trailers and hook up trucks and load capacities and all that stuff. So there's just a lot of really neat people that I'm looking forward to bringing into the network and helping other people. So
Well, I think it's fantastic, and I am so glad that you stuck with your passion and turned it into such a meaningful purpose for you. And I look forward to seeing where it grows. So, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all that with everybody. I greatly appreciate it.
thank you, Laura. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, if any of you are horse people, you know horse people, reach out, connect with Karen. As you can see, she's on quite the mission and has a lot of great content. Maybe you'll be one that can be on her horse lives that she'll be doing soon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I want to wish you a beautiful rest of your day for Monday and a great week. And we will catch you all next time.
Okay.